Hello and welcome back to a dramatic reading, with your host as always, Mah-Dry-Bread. The special episode has finally come, for me to read a fanfic that the rest of the world has not even heard about. Why have they never heard it? Why, it's because it was made by an old friend of mine. Few people have laid their eyes upon this story, mostly because it was only published as a Facebook note. However, I did manage to save it as a Word document before it could ever be taken down. Prepare yourself, folks, because this is a story so funny that I felt the need to not only write a screenplay about in my spare time for fun, but I did a fake trailer for that movie that will probably never be made. You can find it on the link on screen right now. Made just over 1 year ago, so I apologize in advance for the quality. Also, since the original annotations that me and my friends made were not all made by myself, I will have everything that I wrote outlined in purple. The words will be outlined in purple. Everything that one of my friends wrote, I will have outlined in yellow. Without further delay, let us begin. My Epic Parkour Dream by Alex Willis. Okay, first off, I'm gonna say this is one of my favorite dreams ever. I have a few others, but this is one that's pretty badass, and I might continue using my own ideas, so I hope you enjoyed this just as I did. One more thing, it might be easier if you know what parkour is, but I think you might have an idea if you just listen. Some things were not fully explained in the dream, so don't feel too bad when something doesn't make sense. The day started out pretty normal to me. I got up, got dressed, but I dressed differently than I normally do. I put on a t-shirt and some nice shorts, but they had a logo on them, but I couldn't make it out. I took a shower and ate breakfast. I looked at the clock and realized I'm going to be late for school. I grabbed my stuff, which again wasn't normal. Besides taking my bike, I started to run to school. As I ran down towards the school, I noticed that the streets are pretty empty and I see smoke on the horizon. I get to the school about 20 minutes later. Knowing that I'm already late, I quickly go inside. As I get near the front doors, well, there aren't any doors. They're bashed in and taken off the hinges. I go up to the 3rd floor when I start to notice that the school is empty till I see a couple of what look like soldiers near Mr. Ford's room. They see and yell, "There he is! Get him!" Not knowing what was going on, I quickly ran back out. Went down the stairs near the bike racks, but when I got to the 2nd floor, I saw more soldiers under me. So I jumped through the window on the 2nd floor and did a perfect parkour roll on the ground. I ran around the front of the school only to see more soldiers arriving. I ran down the street in front of me till someone picked me up from above. I'm put on a bench then the person who picked me up put his hand around my mouth to keep me quiet for a little bit longer. After the soldiers left the area, the person was reviled. It was Siraj, and with him was Olivia, all being quite quiet and alert in the tree. You guys told me that and massive explosion last night and we were framed for doing it, and that these soldiers, who think we're PMCs, came to hunt us down. After a little while, we started to walk to the library, which was HQ for us parkour people. Author's note. Yes, Siraj, Olivia, Drew, and me are all parkourists and we're the best of all groups. We knew that the soldiers were going to come after us, so we prepared for their arrival and got traps ready for them when they did arrive. When it was dark, we saw tons of cars coming towards the library and we knew it was them, but we were ready. We promised before the fighting started that we would not split up. I said before they charged in, if any of us is captured, don't resist. One of us will break you free. Now let's go! we were doing pretty good against the soldiers, because this was our turf. We took down a good number of them, before Drew and Olivia were attacked by an ambush, and got captured. A group of soldiers threw them in the back of their Humvee and drove to their fortress, leaving me and Suraj with the rest of them. We took them down no problem using our flips and vaults to our advantage. After we'd taken care of them, we thought of a plan to rescue Drew and Olivia. Suraj said we should just charge in and get them out, but I knew it wasn't a good idea. After some talking, we agreed we should contact Kent, so he can help us since he was working undercover for us with them to get details. We meet Kent at Suraj's house, which is our personal headquarters. Kent gave us the blueprints to the fortress and told us the one weak point in their perimeter. Me and Suraj thanked him, and I said my famous catch line, "See you on the other side." Me and Suraj quickly run to their fortress, which was right on the waterfront. The perimeter was huge and pretty impressive. 4 watchtowers with searchlights on them, and tons of barriers and fences. We went to the weak point that Kent told us about, and we quickly went through the maze of defenses. We got to the building itself in no time, and then we helped each other get onto the roof. We got to Anne's skylight and noticed that it was a security room. We quietly made a hole big enough for us and knocked out the soldiers stationed in the room. We looked for where the holding cells were located. We found them and quietly rushed there to save Olivia and Drew, but as we got there, no was there. Just then the PA came on, and we heard that 2 escapees have got out and at City Hall they needed backup to take them in again. Me and Suraj knew exactly where to go, and we did so pretty quickly using the roofs of the buildings to get a better view. As we got there, we saw both Olivia and Drew fighting off soldiers using all that is around them to move around and strike. We joined in the fight and took out 2 soldiers that were about to join. Me and Suraj nodded at each other and we helped our comrades. Suraj went with Olivia and I helped Drew. We hold our ground pretty well. They were using bullets since they wanted us alive, so they were using knockout ammunition instead. Me and Drew used the scaffolding that was around City Hall to our advantage to help dodge their shots and strike back with force. Soon there were no more soldiers to deal with at the time, and me and Drew saw that Suraj and Olivia were fine and were coming over. Then we heard something way off in the distance, and then Olivia said, "Come on, let's to the roofs. If any more of us come, they'll outnumber us this time." We took her advice and used the scaffolding to get to the roofs, since that was the only way. We got up at no problem, then we all smiled at each other, thinking that we had won this war. As it turned out, they had a helicopter, and they had soldiers below us, so we were trapped. Then I reached around to my back pocket and pulled out my custom handgun that used sniper bullets. It had 1 armor-piercing bullet in it. I came up with an idea. You guys give me all your strength to throw me above the helicopter so I can hit its weak point, and then land on the building across from us. Suraj and Olivia said, "No way, you would die." Then Drew said, "We have no choice, we have to trust him." So you guys waited for me at one end of City Hall and I was at the other, getting ready for my running start. I then started to run at super speed, faster than I did before. I reached you guys pretty quickly and I put my foot on your hands, and then you all pushed my up and forward with all your strength. As I was in the air, I yelled out, "See you guys on the other side!" I soared above the helicopter, and took out my gun and shot right into the blades that connected to the body. Then I threw my empty gun at it and prayed for a safe landing. I landed safely onto the building across from you guys. As I turned around to see you guys, the helicopter exploded and we all cheered and yelled in happiness. Then one of the copters flung itself at the lower half of the building and I was in, and it started to crumble. The last thing I saw you guys do was reach out for me and Siraj and Olivia rushing down the scaffolding. I crashed down to the lower part and I ran towards the window at the end of the room I was in. Turned out I was still pretty high up and I just prayed that I would make it this time. I rolled when I hit the ground hoping it would absorb some of the impact. You guys stop halfway down to see me coming out of the smoke from the building and you guys are all happy to see me alive. Then I hear a gunshot and look behind me to see a surviving soldier shoot me with his sidearm, which had a real bullet in it. All I hear next is Siraj and Olivia yell out my name. Alex! Then Drew picked up on the soldier's rifle that was laying around and shot the guy pinpoint in the head and killed him. You guys rushed to me as fast as you could, Olivia being the first, closely followed by Siraj and then Drew. You guys tried to get me up by shaking me or moving me. I didn't move, then Olivia and Siraj and Drew started to cry. Siraj was so mad. He pushed the ground, making a huge crater in the process. Then I slowly opened. I see you guys with your tears in your eyes around me. Then I ask, "Am I dead?" Olivia answers, "No, you're not," in a very glad voice. Then I say, "Well, I was right about one thing." Then Drew said, "What?" Then I said, "I told you I'll meet you on the other side," with a smirk after. You all smiled and laughed a bit. You guys helped me up and carried me back to the library, and then Siraj said, "Looks like we won." And I said in a weak voice, "No, it's only just begun." I passed out after that. Next thing I hear was Olivia saying, "Get up! Come on, Alex, get up!" And then I said, "What?" Then Olivia simply said, "It has begun." I get up, and it looked like I was in the medical wing of HQ. I go to the large window to see the sight I was dreaming of. Siraj and Drew joined shortly after, and we all smiled at each other and know this is it. The reconstruction of Burlington, the city of Parkour! So that's it. I know it was a very long read if you did read it. I know a couple of stuff doesn't make any sense at all, but some things I can explain and some things I can't. So if you have any questions, please just ask and I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. Also, I'm thinking of continuing this into a second part, but I'm not Sue if I should. You tell me if I should or not.